Hi everybody, welcome to the show. My name is Carmen, and today we're going to be working on a page that I call the Iron Rose. Now this particular page comes from inspiration from my brother. He's a blacksmith by hobby, and I was really inspired by all of the wonderful things that we can actually do with different metallic applications and techniques. So this is how it works. So let's get started. The first thing that we need to do is actually create our base for our page. And I've used 3 different sheets of mulberry cardstock for thickness and support, as well as that great effect that mulberry paper gives us. This particular paper happens to be double dipped, which means that I've got 2 colors going on the same page. And I'm going to take advantage of that by folding it in half, allowing one color to show on one side of the bookend and the other color to go on the other side of the bookend. I'm just going to quickly take some glue and glue that on. All you need to do is fold it in half and align it with the other page, just like this. And there I am. I've created now the base for my scrapbook layout using 2 colors, and then what happens is when you open it up, you get an inversion of the colors. Isn't that fun? So now that we've got that all set, the next thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to apply the silver leaf. Now I know that sounds really intimidating, but when we're done, I promise you, you're going to feel like this is the easiest thing in the whole wide world. And here we have the SEP Gilding Adhesive or Size. Just using a regular chipping brush and very generously applying this over the front and the top, kind of crisscrossing back and forth over the page. Now what you'll notice here with SEP Size is that it actually, as you're applying, it glows. See that? Kind of turns like a green color, and that tells you that it's still kind of wet, and that as it continues to dry over time, it actually goes clear so that you actually know, oh my gosh, it's ready to go and it's tacky. And the wonderful thing about this size is it actually stays tacky for 24 hours. You can already start to see that it's starting to clear up there. And for demonstration purposes, I'm going to just go ahead and go on to this, to putting on the actual silver leaf. It comes in little books, and you just open up like this, and there's a tissue paper between each silver leaf to ensure that it doesn't tarnish over time. Now just very easily and lightly, and you want to be really careful because this stuff is really delicate. And all I'm doing is I'm taking out the leaves out of the book. I'm going to take a little rag because I don't want my fingerprints to go all over it. And I'm just going to pound it down, and the size will immediately accept it wherever it's ready to go. And where you don't have size, it'll just come up and pull off right like that. The great thing about this silver leafing is people don't realize that you can actually do this with a stencil. You can put your stencil down, put the size where the holes are, and then when you put down your metal, just like I'm putting down my silver leaf here, it'll just go where your design is. And with your tissue, just quickly pat that down. And the beautiful thing is you just want to tear back on that so that it looks almost imperfect. See how I just pulled a little bit off? You can just put it right back down because, like I said, this stuff just stays tacky for a really long time. Then, just using the napkin, clear away and getting rid of that. And there we have our edge for our leafing. There you have it now, silver leafed. It's as easy as that. And I just happen to have one here that I already worked on. And I've got it on the top and the bottom, all nicely pressed out. Now that we've created the base for our page, we've created our silver leafing, of course now we need to title our page and put any other type of labels or tags that I've created. And what I did is I wanted to create a creative background, so I took a little piece of vellum, went to my computer, typed out a bunch of different fonts that I kind of thought looked more metallic and rustic and old world, created a box around them, and then you actually just cut them out. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to mat them so that the vellum actually had a little black background on it to kind of pop, and a little bit of an effect there with the silver. So what I'm going to show you here is just a little bit of a tag here. So now what we did is we took the silver paint. With my napkin, I'm just going to wipe it off a little bit, and using the brush, just lightly whisking it on either corner. You don't want really a lot of excess paint. It's almost what we call the powder of the paint is left behind. And that's what's giving you kind of a formatting and an old, kind of weathered kind of look. And because this particular cardstock is textured, it's even going to jump out a little bit more at you, just like that. It's as simple as that. It's almost dry since it was almost the powder of the paint. So now we've got that for my title here, The Iron Rose. Now I need to put eyelets in it, and I love eyelets. These particular ones happen to be pewter eyelets, which go with the style of the design. Now all I did is, with my vellum and my cardstock, just kind of centered that by sight, and I'm using an eyelet hole puncher. What I'm going to do is I'm actually using a 1/16 eyelet punch, hole punch, and I'm using 1/8 inch eyelets. Now I'm sure wondering, why would you do that? Well, it's actually a trick from woodworking, because if you want to drill in something into something that's a little bit bigger and you want it to be snug, you go down a size with your drill bit. In this case, I'm going down a size with my eyelet punch and up a size with my eyelet so it fits nice and snug, and I'll show you how that works. Just going to center that here, take my eyelet center, kind of center it from side to side and in the center. 1 tap, 2 taps. Really quickly remove that, and if you take a quick look at that, there we go. And now we're going to do the same thing on this side, making sure I'm nice and straight. And quick eyelet. So if you'll notice, it slips nice and snug in there. How many of you tried to put an eyelet in a hole and then it keeps falling out every time you want to flip it over to nail it in? So we're actually circumventing that problem. And now we have eyelets that fit nice and snug. I'm going to use my little eyelet setter here. Put it onto the back. That will split open the back and set it, but I often find that it's a little bit raised, so I just take my hammer and 1 quick tap just to make it safe, make sure nobody has any sharp edges on the back. 1 tap, 2 tap, there it is. And it's all set to go. The Iron Rose, textured cardstock, and the vellum on the top. I'm just going to quickly adhere that with just a little bit of glue, putting it on all the corners and on the edges. Believe it or not, it actually holds up really, really well. That's one of the tricks of scrapbooking. You got to be careful that whatever you're adhering, that you make sure you're using the right stuff to adhere, because you've made this beautiful page that you want to last forever and ever, and all of a sudden, 2 or 3 years down the line, it's falling apart because you used the wrong glue. So you've got to make sure that you're using the right glue for whatever product that you happen to be using. So now here we have our front page. I did the same thing here with a picture. I just took a little bit of cardstock, a little bit of a decorative mesh. There's great decorative meshes out there, all sorts of different kinds and sizes. And the picture, and again, 2 little eyelets to just kind of keep with the style, and 2 more little labels there. Now going to the inside of the page, same thing. I'm really just repeating over and over and over the techniques, but enhancing each one with different sizes, location, and layout of the actual page. I've got my blacksmith here, my silver leafing, my 2 inner photos. Now if you'll note, the only difference with these inner photos is no black background. I went right on to the brown because I wanted there to be a contrast there, as well as the pictures kind of have black along the outside, so I didn't want to repeat black on black, just to give it a little bit of a contrast. And again, another picture down here with a little bit of cardstock, eyelets, and 2 more little labels. Now the second to last detail is the little wire that I actually put through the eyelets here, just for a little bit of accent and to kind of give a little pop to each photo. Now what I did is I used 20 gauge wire. I'm just going to twist it up a little bit to kind of give it a little rugged look, and I can just bend it right back, and this is going to be my feeding line through there. So all I'm going to do is just feed it right through my photo here, and this particular time I put the eyelet right through the page so that I can go all the way back so that I can secure it, then take my other end, bend it, put it through, and feed it through and just bend it back just like that. So now we've got the inner part of our page pretty much done with the 20 gauge wire. And now to the last little detail. I'm using Making Memories molding strip, and this is metallic. But what I'm doing is I'm going to take it up a notch to another level, and I'm actually just using flat black acrylic paint, and I'm going to quickly brush it over this because of course I can't have this beautiful just regular old piece of metal up here. It's got to be aged and it's got to have iron feel to it. So how do we do that? Just take a little bit of paint, don't think about it too much, rub it on really quick. Basically what you're doing is you're getting it into the bottom part of the relief of the design, And we're going to take a little napkin here quickly and easily and just wipe it off. Watch how this happens right on camera. Isn't that fun? Isn't that cool? So now it looks aged, and as it dries, and the most beautiful thing about these strips is they're adhesive, and the adhesive is actually right on the back, and it pulls right off, just like that. So now because it's adhesive, all we need to do is just press it right here, and I'm kind of covering up the seam of the page so that you don't see any bleed of the design coming back on the other side. Because it's adhesive, I'm just gonna tack it down here really quickly. And we have our iron rose page with metallic effects, decorative mesh, eyelets, and of course, this SEP silver leafing. Thank you. See you guys soon. I hope you enjoy it.
For step-by-step instructions on how to create this week's project, download the design guide featuring special make-it-your-own bonus tips.